Nice. I like the fade and the galaxy look. Oh, that's cool. I really do like the print on that. The colors and the tones behind the little buttons at the top to still give it a resemblance of a classic band jacket. I think that's cool because that's something that's changing, and it still kind of almost makes it feel a little bit classic with how they're kind of incorporating that on the shoulders.
And like the color blocking.
Yeah, the symmetry of it.
I do wish these stars, since the show is Twinkle, I do wish they were brighter so they would stand off of the costume a little bit better to really like give the contrast between the super dark background and then like the super bright stars.
Yeah, I agree with that.
A white or maybe a gold, or maybe both.
Yeah, a combo of both would be cool. I'm still on the buttons. I really like the buttons on top of both tops. Okay, so we pretty much kept the same print and look all the way across. And again, sometimes often it's worth going, if your intent is to look the same or create the same atmosphere, sometimes maybe it's just like, okay, we're using the same print, but maybe the color guards colors would have been a little bit different, or like you could have played with a blend of the tones that you were going for just to give it a little bit more of a different look to the totality of it.
I would like to see the stars here, besides what we talked about in color, but on the flag, when so much of the piece is the stars, that's the focus, like different sizes. Maybe there's one bigger one and a lot of little ones that are still not even just the same size, but this kind of looks like we chose the star tool and click, 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 click. I mean, obviously that's not what happened, but it would be nice if there's a little more variety in that, I think.
Yeah, this would definitely need some bedazzlement moments to add that sparkle to it. And same with the flag. I wish it would have been a different color.
Yeah.
Just to make it, again, just pop a little bit more. Since it's so dark, and again, you're thinking about your green stage that you're standing on, what would that really look like in context? And Vance, you mentioned it earlier, like if there's sunlight hitting, like how would that reflect off of that?
Yeah, looking back at that flag, unless that flag is going to be like a hybrid material, I think that solid gray area is going to be a little too simple. I can see it working with like being like a hybrid lame printed, but as far as I know, this would just be a printed silk.
Right. So one thing I do miss about sewing on flags, giving it the different texture.
Yeah, that'd be a good opportunity for some lame.
The fire coming down from the sleeve all the way around, creating that nice effect. You have the fire on the one side of the sleeve, and then you have the ice on the other side of the sleeve. Create a nice, good juxtaposition with the fire and ice theme with the tunic.
I love this color combination a lot. I really, really like the variety that it offers and how it all blends together with the cracks, but those tones and colors together are really, really nice. Gives you the best of both worlds. Nice, kind of incorporating the same.
I like the use of the black intermittently to break up the all orange and all blue. It's nice just to have it's almost like negative space inside the palette.
Yeah, same thing here with the leg. I agree with that. I do like that they found the break in that.
It'd be a lot if it was just all blue.
Right.
I do really like the placement of the crackle on that middle hip section, only on that left side.
Yeah, for sure. To give that midsection a different look. Okay. So again, I mean, just playing and looking at the flags, just offering different opportunities to play with colors. And again, just really, really thinking about what is going to be predominant whenever your color guard is spinning. And how easily that changes the mood on that. Also thinking about placement of maybe where the blue is, maybe it's on the opposite side and it like blends off the silk, because you have to always consider from the pull, where the pull spins and the end of the fabric are two different ways of your flag spinning. So also thinking about placement when you do things like that, and how your flag is going to spin is also something to consider when you're looking at colors. I really do like these colors together, though. These are really nice tones together.
Something that I think could happen with all of them is maybe use a different, maybe darker, like slightly darker shade of blue to really emphasize all those little crackles so we can see that something is shattering and it's not just like crumbs.
Oh, okay, I could see that just to kind of highlight it a little bit more.
Wonder, I don't know if this is even doable inside this system, but if it had like a white glow, like just a small white glow off of all that blue, that would just make it more icy, I think.
Next up is Allison, who selected show themes A Brave New World, Macabre, and Alcatraz.
So here is my Alcatraz design. I have decided to use a lot of grays and more grays to signify the whole prisoner aesthetic. And then I also use this overlay of like a breaking cement, kind of symbolizing the breaking and the destruction of the prison eventually over time. And then I figured this leather belt would be a cool add-on.
Oh, I really like the belt line.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's really cool. We're going off of Alcatraz, so the linear look to make it look like behind bars, I think is a really, really nice approach and subtle enough to where you get what they're going for.
You know, I didn't think about that at all, but I like that. I more approached it like this was an adaptation of like a prisoner's stripes. But I like how it goes either way, really.
Yeah.
Probably make something of that.
I really do like that tunic.
Yeah, it's more, and the lines are more predominant on it. That's really nice. Still loving the belt line. I like how that jumps in on that.
Same
Nice.
concept. Adding in like a graphic right around the midsection. Same thing there. Like you always have to be careful adding things to the midsection, making sure it's not drawing too much attention to the wider parts of our body that we don't want to look at necessarily.
Yeah, the placement is a little bit weird. Maybe if it was like coming off the shoulder or something like that. I do agree with placement, because right there you kind of miss it. Like you really can't tell where it's at. And then when you incorporate body movement, you're completely going to miss the intent behind that. So maybe exploring something like that, like off the shoulder or off the leg. Because I think the print is really cool, but I agree. I think the placement is a little bit awkward in terms of where that's at.
It would also further accomplish what she's already done. This is the fourth piece, or the third piece. It doesn't match. It doesn't have the buckle on the front. It's different. It departs from it. But if we had that whole Alcatraz scene up and big, that would be even further contrast. Plus, it would bring it into focus quite a bit better.
Yeah, I love what printing a flag can do, because you can pull so many textures. But I feel like I'm going to sound like a broken record. I just wish I had a little bit more intent on what the flag is. And how you could play with how you're setting all of that up. Because right now it's just like nothing but gray, which when you think of Alcatraz, like gray is like also part of the mood of what that environment is. But you could also maybe think of, if you're approaching it from a prisoner standpoint, then, you know, you wish that maybe that could have been like sunlight or something that's brighter, just to really change what that is for the overall look of the program. But I definitely do like the prints. And the approach with that. I think it's similar to what you talked about earlier, Vance. Maybe the crackles in there could be different colors to give it some pop, to make it stick out in a different way. I think that would be cool to kind of further enhance what that is, or maybe make it be different between color guard and band.
I also here have the New World design, which has a lot of blues, because blues and all of this kind of like cyber looking elements are kind of, they give me a kind of futuristic sort of look in my head.
Cool. Very, very futuristic. Very artificial intelligence.
Technology.
Yes, technology.
I like the juxtaposition of the long sweeping lines and the hex underneath it. It's very subtle, and it's kind of nice how it doesn't take over, but it might be just too subtle that it's not going to come to the front.
Right.
So the front of the field like we'd want.
Right. Thinking from a faraway perspective. Also, when you're choosing to do graphics or prints, you have to think about the dimensions of what that is because of where you're being looked at. That's often why we talk about pop of color and things like that to really highlight, because you have to think about distance from your audience. So I would wish, similar to the other one, that maybe the lines were highlighted in a different way, just so you could really see the intent behind that. Because in this case, we get to zoom in and see it. But if you're sitting on a field, then that might not be the case. I love that they use a change of color here, but then thinking of the tones, and again, thinking about your stage, it might end up blending. I would feel like blending from uniform to field. I don't know if you guys feel the same way about that.
It would certainly be close, and it would depend on how green the field was and what time of day it was, probably.
True.
I mean, under the lights, probably it would be all right, but in the daytime, especially when the sun's in any number of angles. So setting yourself up for success by not having to rely on those things would be good.
Yeah. I love that.
It's got a little more color.
A little bit more color behind it. Almost wish it's in the same family of color, but maybe just a little bit brighter. So I love the little squares in the corner, and I like what that is. Maybe you could pop a little bit more, and then the gradient on the side, so you could really read that.